Launched as a derivative of the classic Mini, the Moke was a utility variant originally conceived to supply a role in the British military, but after various design issues caused the model to be abandoned by the armed forces, it would instead find a fruitful civilian role across vast regions of the world as a simple but sturdy runabout for off-road environments. During the late 1950s, Sir Alec Issigonis, already gaining recognition for his pioneering work on the Mini, was tasked with developing a compact, lightweight vehicle that could serve the British military in a support role, with this vehicle being intended to be easily transportable by air, capable of being dropped by parachute or carried by helicopter, and usable in a wide variety of terrains. Drawing inspiration from his earlier unsuccessful attempt at a military design, the Nuffield Gutty, Issigonis once again attempted to marry rugged utility with the innovative mechanical layout of the Mini, and in collaboration with BMC engineer John Shepherd, he produced a bare-bones prototype using the Mini's transverse-mounted engine and front-wheel drive system, with this early version, internally codenamed the Buckboard, being built for function over form, with minimal bodywork and a utilitarian intent. However, the Buckboard's inherent limitations quickly became apparent, as it retained the Mini's 10-inch wheels and limited ground clearance, which rendered it ineffective on rough or uneven terrain, while the 848cc engine, though efficient in the original Mini, lacked the power necessary to meet military performance expectations, with attempts to adapt the design including the fitting of larger wheels and developing a rare four-wheel drive version powered by two engines, one at the front and one at the rear. These twin-engine prototypes, while mechanically intriguing, introduced significant complexity and did not resolve the fundamental issues of low ground clearance, with trials by the British Army and even demonstrations for American military officials failing to generate interest, with the vehicle's lightweight, though one of its selling points, becoming a liability in military testing, as it simply could not cope with the physical demands of a battlefield setting, although the Royal Navy expressed some interest in using it aboard aircraft carriers. By 1963, the British Motor Corporation had little choice but to abandon any hope of securing a military contract, though instead of shelving the project entirely, the company saw an opening in the civilian market, and under the title of the Moke, named after an old dialect word for mule, the car was repurposed as a low-cost utility vehicle, suitable for use in farming, light industrial work, and potentially recreational settings. BMC stripped the vehicle to its bare essentials, keeping only the critical components required for operation, which included the Mini's drivetrain, suspension, and other shared parts, which kept production costs low and maintenance simple, with production officially beginning in January 1964 at the Longbridge factory in Birmingham. The civilian Moke was unlike any other car on British roads, featuring no doors, no frills, and only the most basic equipment, while optional extras, many of which were essential for comfort in Britain's climate, were left for the owner to install, including passenger seats, a canvas roof, a heater, and even a windscreen washer. Across all its iterations, the Mini Moke retained the same basic mechanical formula, being powered by the Mini's A-series engine, with capacities ranging from 848cc through 998cc and 1098cc to 1275cc in later variants, while also employing a 4-speed manual gearbox and a front-wheel drive layout, with the vehicle's structure consisting of a pressed steel monocoque body with front and rear subframes bolted directly to the shell, while the fuel tank was normally housed in the left side pontoon, while the right side held the battery and a small lockable compartment. Part of the Moke's charm was its mechanical simplicity, as with minimal body panels and easy access to essential components, it was straightforward to service and repair, with enthusiasts being able to customize and modify their vehicles extensively, and this adaptability helped it find niches in unusual applications, being used as a utility vehicle in remote locations, as beach rental transport in tourist resorts, and even adapted for railway inspection service in Australia. The first units were offered only in a single colour of spruce green, and went on sale with a base price of £405, thus making it one of the cheapest new cars available at the time, appealing to cost-conscious buyers who needed a simple mode of transport, though despite BMC's efforts to market the Moke as a commercial vehicle for farmers and tradespeople, the UK government ruled that it should be taxed as a passenger car. This decision significantly undercut its price advantage and dampened domestic sales, and of the 14,518 Mokes produced in the UK between 1964 and 1968, around 90% was sold overseas, with the vehicle's Spartan construction, combined with Britain's damp climate, making it an impractical everyday car for most British motorists, though its playful design, ease of maintenance, and sense of novelty began to attract attention from a more style-conscious audience. The Moke soon found a niche as a fashionable runabout and gained further cultural cachet when a 1965 Moke with wooden picket bodywork appeared in the cult television series The Prisoner, as driven by the enigmatic number 6 played by Patrick McGowan and set in the surreal coastal setting of Port Merion in Gwynedd, North Wales. Though its British production ended in 1968, in 1966, assembly of the Moke began in Australia, where it was initially badged as the Morris Mini Moke, with the vehicle undergoing several design changes to better suit local conditions and consumer preferences, being fitted with larger 13-inch wheels and extended rear trailing arms to improve ground clearance and stability. The original solid metal seats were replaced with lighter tubular frame versions resembling deck chairs, and the initial 998cc engine was upgraded mid-production to a 1098cc version, offering more power and better performance, with the Australian Moke being embraced not only as a beach and leisure vehicle, but also found use in commercial and military roles. In 1971, a variant known informally as the Californian was introduced for the US export market, which included a 1275cc engine, revised lighting to meet American standards, and a fuel tank mounted beneath the rear floor rather than in the side pod, with the Californian featuring eye-catching seat materials and often came in bright colors, capitalizing on its appeal to the flower power demographic of the time. While in 1975, a pickup version of the Moke was introduced with a larger rear cargo area and drop-down sides. Production in Australia continued until 1981, with assembly having been transferred from the former Morris factory in Zetland, Sydney, after its closure in 1975, to Enfield in another suburb of Sydney, with around 26,000 Australian Mokes being built in total at both facilities, after which British Leyland transferred assembly operations to its IMA or Indústria Montagem Automóveis in Setúbal, Portugal, and later Vendas Novas. Portuguese-built Mokes initially replicated the final Australian designs, but soon incorporated changes reflecting ongoing Mini production in Europe, including the use of 12-inch wheels, updated braking systems, and standard-length rear arms, while the general layout and open-body concept remained, though additional variants in trim and fitting were gradually introduced. A celebratory edition, the Moke 25, was produced in 1989 to mark the model's 25th anniversary, highlighting its cult status among enthusiasts, while in 1990, ownership of the Moke name passed to the Italian motorcycle manufacturer Cagiva, who continued Portuguese production under their banner until 1993, with these final Mokes being largely unchanged mechanically, but included minor cosmetic tweaks such as revised roll bars and U-top configurations. Cagiva's efforts to resume production in Italy never fully materialized, and Moke assembly came quietly to an end, with the final head count being approximately 50,000 Mini Mokes having been produced across all territories, and although production of the original Mini Moke ended in 1993, the vehicle's distinctive style and spirit have endured, with numerous imitations and lookalikes being created over the years, though the Moke was never officially offered as a kit car. Since the early 2000s, interest in the Moke has resurged, with new electric versions now being assembled in the UK and France under the Moke brand, targeting modern consumers who value its open-air design and retro appeal. And today, over 6 decades since its original conception, the Mini Moke remains an icon of quirky, practical design and continues to enjoy a dedicated global following. In the end, despite the Mini Moke beginning its life as an unsuccessful military proposal, the car would go on to become a cultural icon, with its no-frills construction, quirky aesthetic and beach buggy appeal, making it a favourite in sunny climates and among unconventional motorists. And from Caribbean resorts to Australian outback farms, the Moke's versatility and simplicity ensured its longevity, with its near 30-year production history being a testament not just to its adaptability, but also to its unique character. A vehicle that, despite being born from military failure, succeeded in carving out a niche all of its own.